To continue to clarify Canto 1, the creation, Chapter 5, Srila Narada's instructions on Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam to Srila Vyāsadeva. And we'll just touch upon verse number 18, which we covered yesterday, and then continue with verse 19. Om Ajnana-timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamiti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurvani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So, Canto 1, Chapter 5, verse number 18, translation. Persons who are actually intelligent and philosophically inclined should endeavor only for that purposeful end which is not obtainable even by wandering from the topmost planet Brahmaloka down to the lowest planet Patala. As far as happiness derived from sense enjoyment is concerned, it can be obtained automatically in course of time, just as in course of time we obtain miseries even though we do not desire them. So this might sound like a very simple, theory for someone who's been in the movement for some time. Krishna speaks this in the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita. So you might say, yes, I know this. But this morning I was meditating when I was chanting, and I was thinking how fortunate we are that the inner cores of heart of two sadhus, Srila Vyasadeva and Srila Nārada Muni, are presented in front of us in a very simple, understandable language, and according to the examples which we can relate to by Srila Prabhupada. So imagine how much fortune we have. We have no qualification at all. But out of the causeless mercy of Nārada Muni, Vyasadeva and Srila Prabhupada, we are getting to understand their innermost cores of their hearts. So we should not take this very lightly that, yes, I know this. When we understand that, the efforts to enjoy sense gratification is going to ultimately fail and ultimately end up in misery. There are some solutions which we can think of. So people who are writing notes, you can see what, when we go through some frustrations, when life doesn't go according to our plans, as we say, man proposes, God disposes. So what happens when, we get frustrated with our efforts, anything, and when the frustration is, long lasting, what do? First simple suggestion given is don't brood. Don't brood over the problem and the frustration. It says stop meditating on the problem and just continue with thinking about something else. Now, why does this happen? When we have our mind, Radheshyam Prabhu from Pune, he did a little survey or whatever, I don't know. But he said, in our mind, every day 66,000 thoughts come and go. But there's one desire which is called an unfulfilled desire. Now, unfulfilled desire have a strange habit. So unlike the other thousands of desires, they come and go, they'll just vaporize in thin air. But unfulfilled desires, they hover around our mind like a hot air balloon. It just is there in front of us. And then the more we think about that, the more strongly they are ingrained in our consciousness. So first solution, if the things are not going according to our plans for sense gratification, don't brood and don't think about those unfulfilled desires. Second one is wait for the good times. Sometimes when our desires are not getting fulfilled, then we have to wait for the good times. In the 8th canto of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, the devatas are having difficult times against the asuras, and the asuras are victorious, and the devatas approach as usual to Lord Vishnu. So Lord Vishnu doesn't give them any solution. The only solution he gives them is that, instead of helping them to win the war, what does Vishnu advise them? He says, okay, declare a truce and wait until time favors you. Even for devatas, they have to wait till time favors us. So what we have to do is just not think about the problem, wait till the time comes, and as the proverb says, this too shall pass. This too shall pass. Then the third advice given to us is persevere. Of course, when the times are difficult, it is not that, we should just tolerate adverse times and not put in the effort. We should give the efforts. We should put in the efforts. But when we put in the effort without getting attached, then we are in a much safer position than when we are putting in efforts and we are attached to the results. The beautiful example of Srila Prabhupada, same thing. When he wanted to open the first temple in America, in New York, it was a very difficult times. He wanted to build the first Radha Krishna temple in New York City. And he actually solicited help from his, rich god brothers, influential god family, the pious Indian people, Indian business people, the government of India, everyone he approached, but no one helped him. And he was 70, with no means at all, very few contacts, nothing at all, only just a few, handful of hippie followers. But yet he did not give up. So we have to also persevere. And then the last 3 is that remember, Krishna might have a higher plan. When our times are not the best, when we are getting frustrated, we have to understand that Krishna has a higher plan. And the next one is be detached, as we said, that, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita time and time again that you have to be detached from your work. And if you also understand our situation in the context of the entire creation, in the context of the entire millennium, our situations, our problems are nothing. So we have to be detached, but we have to put in the effort. And the last, but not the least, is we have to be very convinced, very assured that Krishna knows best. Krishna knows what's best for us. As we have seen, and we'll also see in the next verse, that Lord Krishna is like the affectionate father who gives us what we need, not what we want. Krishna will definitely know what we need for our spiritual progress. And of course, to maintain our spiritual progress, he will give us material also what we need, but not what we want. So we might ask something in our ignorance, something which is not very useful, but actually might be very harmful, and Krishna might not give us. Then we might think, times are so bad, why is Krishna doing this to me? But if we are convinced that Krishna knows the best, then these frustrating times will be finished. So here in this verse number 18, Prabhupada also tries to say the same thing, that we should not spend too much time and energy on our sense gratification. But Prabhupada said that our endeavor should be to go back to Godhead. And he finishes the purport by saying that that should be our mission. That should be our mission. Ante Narayana Smriti. So continue with verse 19. Na vajano chatu kathanchan vrajen mukund sevyan vayad anga samsmritim smaran mukundangri upaguhunam punar vihatumichena narasagraho janaha. That's the wrong meter. Sorry, that's the wrong meter. Word to word synonym. Na, never. Why, certainly. Janaha, a person. Jatu, at any time. Kathanchana, somehow or other. Avrajet, does not undergo. Mukund Sevi, the devotee of the Lord. Such a nice Sanskrit word, Mukund Sevi. It's a nice name to give to a devotee. The devotee of the Lord. Anyavat, like others. Anga, oh my dear. Samsmritim, material existence. Smaran, remembering. Mukundangri, the lotus feet of the Lord. upaguhanam, embracing, punah, again, vihatum, willing to give up, ichet, desire, never, rasagraha, one who has relished the mellow, jana, person. So does someone want to read the translation and purport?
I can read, Prabhu.
Yes, Mother.
Translation. My dear Vyas, even though a devotee of Lord Krishna sometimes fall down somehow or other, he certainly does not undergo material existence like others, fruitive workers, etc. Because a person who has once relished the taste of the lotus feet of the Lord can do nothing but remember that ecstasy again and again. Purport. A devotee of the Lord automatically becomes uninterested in the enchantment of material existence because he is rasagraha, or one who has tasted the sweetness of the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. There are certainly many instances where devotees of the Lord have fallen down due to uncongenial association, just like fruitive workers who are always prone to degradation. But even though he falls down, a devotee is never to be considered the same as a fallen karmi. A karmi suffers the result of his own fruitive reactions, whereas a devotee is reformed by chastisement directed by the Lord himself. The sufferings of an orphan and the sufferings of a beloved child of a king are not one and the same. An orphan is really poor because he has no one to take care of him. But a beloved son of a rich man, although he appears to be on the same level as the orphan, is always under the vigilance of his capable father. A devotee of the Lord, due to wrong association, sometimes imitates the fruitive workers. The fruitive workers wants to lord it over the material world. Similarly, a neophyte devotee foolishly thinks of accumulating some material power in exchange for devotional service. Such foolish devotees are sometimes put into difficulty by the Lord Himself. As a special favor, He may remove all material paraphernalia. By such action, the bewildered devotee is forsaken by all friends and relatives, and so he comes to his senses again by the mercy of the Lord and is set right to execute his devotional service.
Thank you, Mataji. So we can unpack this paragraph here.
Yeah.
So here Prabhupada is comparing the suffering of a devotee who has fallen from the path of bhakti to that of a materialist. So we can see Prabhupada is giving such a nice comparison between an orphan and the suffering of a child of a king or a rich man. That an orphan, there is no one to take care of him, but the beloved son of a rich man. So even when devotees come to Bhakti Yoga, and then somehow, for whatever, we've seen some allurements happen, some attractions happen, sometimes confusion happens. In Bhagavad Gita, we see that Arjun, he is not bewildered because of any allurement. So it's not that only allurement brings bewilderment. Only allurement, takes us out of the process of Bhakti Yoga. Sometimes confusion also does that. When we are confused as to what is the right step, what is the right way, and that also can bewilder us and take us out of the path of Bhakti Yoga. But Prabhupada says here, he gives us this assurance, an assurance on behalf of Krishna, that a devotee who sometimes falls away from the path, but he's still under the vigilance of his capable father, Krishna. Bhagavad Gita also, Krishna says that one who is a devotee, and even if he falls down, he is still called a Mahatma. What's that verse in Sanskrit? Does anyone remember that verse? Where Prabhupada tells us we are not supposed to be the judges. Even when Krishna is not the judge, he even tells someone, he even tells us that a devotee who is fallen from the path because of some unintentional mistake is still a Mahatma. What's that verse? It'll come to me. Anyway, sorry. Sometimes you have the thought block.
Shipram bhavati dharmatma.
Hare Krishna. Is it at apichet sudurachara?
Apichet, yes. Apichet sudurachara. Yes, thank you. Thank you. Api says Sudharacharo bhajate mam ananya bhag sadhureva mantav. Come on.
Samyak vyasito hi
Yes,
sa.
Vyavasato hi hai, yes. So he says, Api says to Duracharo, that even if someone is a Durachari is a very strong word in Sanskrit. And Krishna says that even if someone who is, committing mistakes, of course, Prabhupada says in that purport that it is not that we chant Hare Krishna and then commit sinful activities on the strength of the chanting of the holy name. That, of course, we know is one of the offenses against the chanting of the holy name. But if this unintentional mistake is made, then Krishna says, still he's a Mahatma, and that is my opinion. And of course, Krishna's opinion is like the authority. By the way, you want to continue with the translation, please? Purport, sorry.
Yes. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is also said that such fallen devotees are given a chance to take birth in a family of highly qualified brahmanas or in a rich mercantile family. A devotee in such a position is not as fortunate as one who is chastised by the Lord and put into a position seemingly of helplessness. The devotee who becomes helpless by the will of the Lord is more fortunate than those who are born in good families. The fallen devotees born in a good family may forget the lotus feet of the Lord because they are less fortunate, but the devotee who is put into a forlorn condition is more fortunate because he swiftly returns to the lotus feet of the Lord, thinking himself helpless all around.
Thank you, Mataji. So when we read Bhagavad Gita, the 6th chapter, where Arjun asks a question, then we think that yes, someone who has done bhakti yoga for a long time and then they don't become successful in their next life, they take birth in a Srimatam Suchi Naam Ke Hai. That means they take birth either in a aristocratic family or a nice Brahmana family. But here, then Prabhupada takes us to the higher level, that a devotee actually who is sort of, when we come to devotional service, and then Krishna personally takes charge of our lives. Now, of course, the more sincerely we are following, and the more Krishna takes charge of our lives. If we are just, always trying to remain on the borderline, then Krishna also will wait for some time. So here, Prabhupada is very nicely telling us that a devotee in such a position means one who is born in a Brahmana or a rich family. He is not as fortunate as one who is chastised by the Lord and put into a position seemingly of helplessness. So what happens that when a devotee is going through some extreme difficulties, slowly, because the societal situation, everyone will leave him slowly, one by one. And then he will have no other recourse but to take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. Prabhupada, of course, is one of the classic examples. When he was trying everything, his own family, everyone deserted him. Prabhupada was completely helpless, and then he took shelter of the Lord, just to make sure that, yes, whatever mission my Guru Maharaj has given to me, I must fulfill that. And we know the famous story of this devotee, this pujari, who came to Mayapur after some time, and then when he saw, that nice temple has been built and all that, and then he asked, and then when he saw the picture of Prabhupada, he says, yes, I remember this person used to come to the Samadhi of Advaita Acharya and used to pray. And then when I asked him once that, why are you coming here regularly to pray? He said, my Guru Maharaj has given me an instruction which helplessly I cannot fulfill on my own. And that's why I have come to take mercy from Advaita Acharya, who is the one on whose calling Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came here. So I'm just taking mercy from him so that I can also go out and spread the mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Prabhupada also was completely helpless, and then he took shelter of the Lord, Advaita Acharya, and he left. So Prabhupada here very nicely compares the position of a devotee who's born in a good family To a devotee who's personally chastised by the Lord, and he is put in a helpless situation. From a material point of view, we will think actually getting a nice birth in a Brahmana family or a rich family is nice. Why unnecessarily go through difficulties? Why does Krishna put someone into difficulty unnecessarily? But when we look from the spiritual point of view, here we can understand that in the latter case, where Krishna has put this devotee into difficulty, it's a much superior position, because Krishna is personally in charge of the lives of those devotees. So the last paragraph, Mataji, please.
Pure devotional service is so spiritually relishable that a devotee becomes automatically uninterested in material enjoyment. That is the sign of perfection in progressive devotional service. A pure devotee continuously remembers the lotus feet of Lord Sri Krishna and does not forget him, even for a moment, not even in exchange for all the opulence of the three worlds.
Thank you, Mataji. So such a nice end of the purport, where Prabhupada, after glorifying the process of devotional service, glorifying the fact that even if we make mistakes, if we just remain on the path of devotional service, as we know that we just remain on the boat of ISKCON, everything will be taken care of by Srila Prabhupada. And Prabhupada says here that it's so spiritually relishable that a devotee becomes automatically uninterested in material enjoyment. Again, Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says the same thing, param drishta nivartante, that we have the taste, but ultimately taste for material enjoyment will automatically go away when we slowly get the taste of pure devotional service. For us to progress in devotional service, there are few qualities required. The first one, of course, is our commitment. That when we commit ourselves to the process given to us, that chanting 16 rounds, reading Prabhupada's books every day, meditating on them, associating with the devotees, and performing devotional service to further the mission of Srila Prabhupada. So we have this commitment, and then sometimes we might also go through difficulties, go through obstacles, go through adversities, even in fulfilling our devotional service. At that time, the quality of determination is required. Of course, when we are sitting on the fence for a long time, then these factors don't come into play, because no serious devotional service is performed. But when we see devotees who are performing serious devotional service, when they are going through difficult times, as in the case of Srila Prabhupada, the next quality which comes into play is determination. And then we are committed, we are determined. And then, of course, we have a sense of duty to the mission of Srila Prabhupada. As we saw, I don't know whether we've spoken about the feeling of gratitude. The highest level of gratitude is one where we are not only saying thank you to Prabhupada, we are not only expressing our thanks many, many times, but the feeling of gratitude is so strong in our hearts and minds that we just cannot sit and not do anything to further the mission of Srila Prabhupada. With the feeling of that gratitude, we are actually forced to take steps to further the mission of Srila Prabhupada. So that just becomes our ingrained duty, that yes, I must do this. And after the duty will come the taste. So once the taste comes, of course, then as Prabhupada says here, then we become automatically uninterested in material enjoyment. And that is a sign of perfection in progressive devotional service. And when this happens, a pure devotee continuously remembers the lotus feet of Lord Sri Krishna. And as we have heard before, that even when we are doing devotional service, of course, when we are not constantly thinking of Krishna, like in Arjun's case, when he was fighting the war, it is not that when every time he'll shoot a arrow, he'll think of Krishna. No. The intention was to please Krishna. So when our actions are to please Krishna, maybe intention is something different. When our actions are to please Krishna, as Mother Yashoda, she is going to save the pot of boiling milk which is going to spill over. The action was to serve Krishna. sorry, the intention, yes, the action was to serve Krishna. In our case also, the action may be to serve Krishna, but the intention might be something different. I want some glory, I want some fame, maybe I want some material opulence, whatever it is. But the beauty of Krishna consciousness, the beauty of the compassion of Krishna is that if our action is pleasing to Krishna, Krishna will reward us. But my dear devotees, if the intention and the action, they're both pleasing to Krishna, if our intention is to please Krishna and if our action is to please Krishna, then Krishna rewards us by giving himself to us. And this is the sign of pure devotion, where we are not interested in anything else except the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. And a pure devotee, as Prabhupada says here, does not forget him even for a moment, not even in exchange for all the opulences of the three worlds. Any questions or comments or reflections on this verse before we move on to verse number 20?
Hare Krishna, can I share a little story about the helplessness?
Yes, please.
If that's okay. About a few years ago, I think we had gone on a Harinam in Gold Coast. And after the Harinam, I was leading Narshinga Day prayers. And there was a lady who was standing a little bit further away from me. And after finishing up the Narshinga Aarti, I didn't look right, didn't look left. I don't know why, but I walked straight up to that lady and I started talking about just a bit about Bhagavad Gita. She suddenly held my hand and she stopped me and she showed me, she pulled her t-shirt and she showed me within her t-shirt, and she had no breast and she was struggling from breast cancer last stage. So I gave her the Bhagavad Gita and I told her, even because she was going to the hospital, I think in a couple of days. And I had told her that even if you touch Bhagavad Gita and keep it next to on your hospital bed, you'll be taken care of. And she said, are you sure? And I told her, yes, I'm sure. And then she said, do you promise me that? And that time I remember I prayed to Srila Prabhupada and I said, yes, I promise you that. And then she took the Bhagavad Gita and she walked away, I walked away. And then I came back just to see where she was. And when I came back, I saw she was sitting on a faraway bench at the beach. She was opening the Bhagavad Gita and she was quickly flipping over the pages and she was trying to, flipping the pages. She was trying to make sense of what is happening in that book. And at that time, I realized that helplessness is such a state that it's that point in time that you have no one else. You can just rely on God, and that's the only, I think, way out. And today we are discussing about helplessness. I don't know why that incident just came to my mind.
Yes, we see the story also of Avanti Brahmana, where slowly Krishna takes away everything, and then he comes to realize that ultimately he has wasted his whole life, and then he takes shelter of the Lord and he composes many nice prayers for the Lord. Thank you, Sneha Mataji. Thank you very much for sharing the story.
Thank you.
We have just 1 minute left, so I will just recite the verse number 20. Maybe time to read the translation, and then we'll continue tomorrow. Idam hi vishwan bhagwan ivetaro yato jagatsthana nirodha sambhava tadhi swayam ved bhavam satapite pradesha matram bhavata pradarshitam. Word to word, translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Idam, this, he, all, Vishwam, cosmos, Bhagavan, the Supreme Lord, Iva, almost the same, Itaraha, different from, Yataha, from whom, Jagat, the worlds, Sthana, exist, Nirodha, annihilation, Sambhava, creation, Tat, he, all about, Swayam, personally, Ved, no, Bhavan, your good self, Tathapi, still, Te, unto you, Pradesha Matram, a synopsis only, Bhavata, unto you, Pradarshitam, explained. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. The Supreme Personality of God, the Supreme Lord Personality of Godhead is himself this cosmos, and still he is aloof from it. From him only has this cosmic manifestation emanated. In him it rests, and unto him it enters after annihilation. Your good self knows all about this. I have given only a synopsis. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Nārada Muni ki jai, Srila Vyāsa ki jai, Granth-raj Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai.
Jai. Thank
So
you
any
very much.
questions or comments or reflections? Anyone? Please unmute yourself. Okay. Thank you very much. You have a wonderful, glorious, devotional day, Krishna conscious day. And Krishna willing, we'll see you tomorrow morning again at 6:30 virtually. And yes, that's it. Granth-raj Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai, Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhakta.
Jai.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.